Oh, I normally take that off too. Hello, and welcome back to the Geek on My Sleeve channel. Today is Geek Out 121 over The Perfect Run 2. Geek on My Sleeve, where we learn how to human one book at a time. By Maxime J. Oh, I just had it. Durand.
Yeah, and then he's got the pen name Void Herald.
Also known as Void Herald, which I think for this one fits. I don't know. We haven't ran across any of his other works, but for this one with the Deadpool-esque character, it definitely makes sense.
I think book 2 did have a teaser of his other book, didn't it?
Or end of 1 had a teaser of his other book.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't recall what was at the end of this one. Yeah, he normally has a teaser.
Yeah. I really like it when authors do that. Kind of give you the first chapter of their other works to kind of get a taste for it before you have to commit.
Yeah, with how quick things are coming out if they've already got the chapter, because for some of the authors that we talk to, they're like 3-4 books ahead of release.
Mm-hmm.
It's just waiting on artwork or final edits or audio releases. So Yeah, keep it consistent.
We just did a stream with our buddy Chaz, and we were talking about how we live in an amazing time right now with just the fantasy sci-fi genre and just publishing in general, because I remember when I first really got into reading 15 years ago, it just seemed like it took forever for new content to come out. And there's still a handful of old school authors that are like that. But it seems like a lot of our new favorites are just prolific writers and get out. It seems like a couple books a year almost. And
I
it's amazing.
I feel it's a blessing and a curse because it's literally happening across every industry where video games, it used to be, it would be several years, and I guess the big one that stands out for me is like the Zelda franchise, where
Hmm.
I played oh Ocarina of Time, and then there was a couple years, and then Majora's Mask came out, and then there
Hmm.
was a big dry spell or a couple remakes or whatever, and the next big one was Breath of the Wild that stuck out for me, but now it's playing more like Call of Duty esque, where
I was about to say,
every year there's a new one, and then in the book industry, for a lot of the lit RPG space that we play in, it's kind of like one a quarter, or so you get like four a year. So there,
yeah.
everything's just moving quicker. Same thing with shorter form content elsewhere.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
this I am honestly thoroughly surprised with the way book two went. Book one, you got several loops that were kind of involved a lot of the same mechanics or the same people and
Hmm.
material. And I thought two was going to be just an optimization of those. But I thoroughly enjoyed the crazy out of left field turn that we took. I
It
was
was nice.
not expecting it at all, and it's playing with my heartstrings because it's getting me excited about Len working out again. Because in book one, we essentially, that was his end goal. That was
Hmm.
his game plan, was to reunite with his childhood friend who would remember him through the loops, who knew him before he gained his powers. But
Right.
in this one, we A, reconnect with her meaningfully, B, we find a way to bring her through the time loops. But we also get, the turmoil or pulling at heartstrings more for she gets taken over by Psyshock, and
Yes.
that, oh
That was
man,
a twist right there.
that was a huge twist. But I really enjoyed the Macron bunker,
Hmm.
Mr. President arc. Like it,
Yes.
oh
Yes.
man,
Like, of
yeah,
all things, to have a metagame run,
yeah.
that was pretty cool. Um, but real quick, full disclosure before we get too far into these, Pete and I typically try to get through the books a couple times the week leading up to this. We have gotten through the book a couple times since release, but I think we each only got through this book once this week. So some of the details might be hazy, and I did cheat and listen to book three.
Okay.
So I'll be relying on Pete to keep me no spoilers for book three, but spoilers up through book two going ahead. Um, but yeah, like you're saying, book one, we get kind of like the same couple loops where he's really trying to optimize those early pieces. He does like an Augustus loop, and then we go and we do, begins with a D, right?
Or Dynamis.
Dynamis loop. And then this book we had a metagang loop.
Yep.
Um and the big thing on the Augustus path in book one was he let himself form attachments with Jasmine, aka Vulcan.
Yeah.
Right. Our genius that works for the Augustus used to be partners with Wyvern, who is, oh, you just said it, who works for
oh yeah, not Augusti.
It's been a long week, guys. Basically our corporate Dynamis. Yeah, Dynamis is our corporate. We want to make the world a better place through our corporate sponsoring.
Seminars.
Yeah, kind of, I see them as corporate America, and then the Augustus is more of this mafia.
Yeah,
where they all the leadership have old Greece like names or whatever. Like we have Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, they basically see themselves as deities, where Dynamis sees themselves more of like they have CEO, VP, etc., etc.
They're playing the whole movie angle and cinema.
And then we have the meta gang, which are all psychos because they drink 2 elixirs.
Yep.
And we learned that some people can drink 2 elixirs and be okay.
I enjoyed the lore development with. We got to see an elixir itself for
the black elixir.
Yeah, for the black
that
elixir.
Was pretty cool.
And oh man, it's a way that it there's so much more and so much potential. And yeah, I want to say that was our ending, was when
going
we get to meet
the black world.
Yeah, going to the black world. Like, oh man.
And I'm a sucker for like unique magic systems, and this one, from what we learned, is really cool, right? Because like each one of the color elements kind of has its own plane of existence, right?
Yeah, that it pulls its power from.
And we learned that quick save is pretty much like the top guy of the violet world.
Yep.
Right. And we find that
I think they call it's a violet power, but they call it the purple world.
Yeah. So like his power trumps all the other violets, and we get to see him kind of have issues with like acid rain.
Yeah.
Which is a psycho that has a purple power, where she can kind of like instinctively teleport around. And then his new romantic interest from, the heir to the Augustus. Oh, help me out here. Is it Livia?
I'm drawing a blank on which one you're talking about, because I was
princess.
Thinking,
you guys know we're just freaking awful when it comes to names. But she's the heir to Augustus, and she seems
sounds right.
She seems like a good egg, and it's not until maybe like second or third loop through this time, or maybe it's the first loop, where he's on his way to go take care of Ghoul.
It's the first loop, and we end up with the cat teleporting.
Yes.
And yeah, it was Von Schrödinger.
Yeah, Eugene. Yeah. Schrodinger's. Like the cat is both alive and dead.
Yeah. Well, that's just another like concept where it's like it was initially designed to be a joke, and then it just to take it for explaining a concept and expand and create a whole power set out of it. Like I thoroughly enjoy the interactions and just how it was expanded. But yeah, to essentially have himself come back as a cat and harness his powers and nudge in the right directions for sending back the chrono radio signals for different conversations that they had, which then allows Len to trust him sooner, and then to have the cat popping around and have the oh,
it shows that
lucky
there's
girl and
someone behind the scenes kind of tinkering with stuff, right? Like really trying to help him accomplish what he's trying to accomplish. And
I thought it was him.
No, it's not him. It's pretty much like someone else with the purple world, because it's a purple world's power.
Yeah, but at
he
the end
doesn't
of
know.
2, he gets a second power. He gets black power, which is causality or chaos, or so it could have been someone else.
I've gotten through book 3. I'll bite my lip. Maybe not. I wasn't left with the impression it was him.
Okay.
You guys catching on the replay?
I was, but it might have been just hearing the narration when the cat finally says, like, I've done all I can. It's up to you now. I like heard the same voice. And then after we got the powers at the end, I was like, okay, that was totally him. And then he erased it, or he causality'd it out.
Could be.
Anyway, so magical cat that then loses his powers.
Yeah.
Allowing us to meet Fortuna.
Yeah.
Is that her name? Or that's Lucky Girl.
No, that's he meets Lucky Girl and her best friend.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who is
Fortuna. Right?
Yeah. Fortuna, Lucky Girl, Good Fortune. Yeah. She's so funny, just like her own reinforcing narcissism. She ends up dating Shade, who
that's book 1.
Yeah, but he, in every loop prior to that, we also have the Carnival, the third big faction, the fourth big faction. Because it's the Carnival, which is basically, like the League of Superheroes taking out people, the Augustus, the Mafia deities. We keep butchering it.
Dynamis.
And then the Meta Gang. So we kind of have a run for each one of those. And yet each time at the end, New Rome burns, no matter which way we go. Because we learned that
it's about how to appease and influence all of them. And I did enjoy, I think it was like one of the first loops for this one, how quick he got down to business, where he ends up Shorty hears some of the messages, he gets in contact, gets her appeased, and then we end up getting the cat to lead Lucky Girl and the princess in front of us, almost run them over. Assemble, go into Manada's, or whatever his name is, headquarters, and essentially lay down all the information that they've been subjugated and this, that, and the other, and end up assembling our dream team pretty quick with Wardrobe, where we finally get the cashmere
really enjoyed
suit,
that arc there.
Then we get the panda, or they get the animal theme thing going. They get Wardrobe, Adam Cat, the panda, and then him, which
but that ends up leading to us meeting the VP, Blackthorn's brother, as they come back and overthrow the father. That's
where I felt that one was like not really, but kind of a Carnival-esque loop. I guess it was a heavy hitter, more Carnival influence, where we got to meet Leo the Living Sun, and had our big showdown just for other stuff to go south later. As well as what's his name, Radioactive, or
the older brother to Blackthorn.
Which he's gonna be a problem.
And it's funny because, like, even though by the end of this book we're on loop 20 something, we get so many new angles on the problem and learn so much more about it.
Or
And
yeah, how to influence things. And another key point that I really enjoyed is the fact that we have the princess who can remember us through loops,
well, she can't
or
remember
that
us,
she
but she
can
can leave
take note.
notes.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah. And that was interesting when they first faced off. In the little love motel or whatnot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Or
It wasn't
it
love
was
motel,
like Death
but yeah.
Motel or something.
But like he instantly goes to fight mode as opposed to like when he finally comes around, he's like, hey, this is kind of what I've always been wanting, right? Like somebody who has the
Or
potential to remember me.
I think a lot of that was just like the people she brought. Like it makes sense because of who she is and that's her
Right.
inner circle. But
Right.
to open up negotiations with cancel, it's kind of scary. But it was beautifully done for the oranges in the hen house and how
Yes. I really cheesed when that
it
happened.
brought it all back. Because at first it's kind of like a throwaway phrase, kind of like he does for
Just a goof with people.
I'm immortal, but don't tell anybody because it doesn't matter because nobody remembers anyway. Yeah, but the oranges in the hen house was a great thing, and then it was a night we just said it, his psycho, what's their group again? The meta gangs
Group of psychos
run was spicy and unique, where in book one he had his espresso run where he went on his rampage infiltrating run, and then we had his other ones where he like wrecked his car and took out Mosquito with the atom bomb and a couple other quick ones. But this one was we knew we weren't going to continue, but information gathering and everything else was really nice.
We've talked about it a lot before, like just all the different aspects of what we enjoy from reading and everything. And Quick Save comes in wanting to save pretty much just his childhood friend slash stepsister, right?
Yeah.
Or adoptive sister. And as he goes through more and more loops, he forms these attachments and he's like, hey, you're important to me. Right. Like he feels a responsibility of in my perfect run, after I save, then it's set, right? Like, so if I could do something, I should do it. Like the fact that I can't
he
just walk
stays
away.
honorable for his, if he says, hey, I'm going to get rid of the meta gang, or hey, I'm going to do this, he sticks to it and he doesn't care that nobody would know.
But it's very easy to form like this us versus them mentality that is like so natural, I think, to humans. But he does a run with each faction.
I can find it relatable because just like I guess through my high school career, I didn't really like slot one niche. I kind of knew a bit of everybody. Occasionally I hung out with the band geeks, or I enjoyed the tech stuff, so I played with the gamers or whatnot, and then just all over the place where it didn't fit in one circle per se, so it makes sense. For this one, the one that threw me off was Brain Dead coming in and somewhat curing a lot of the psychos of their issues, and then seeing the toaster and getting like acid rain after she's not screaming about how she's going to rip open his insides and transport to the purple world and go back, and their backstories, like adding some of the meta gang was It was
Well, they made his
interesting.
list, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's what I was saying.
it was
Like they
it was
made the list.
Augustus and Dimas. Then we had the Living Sons gang and everything. How
Yeah, the
Shroud
carnival
made it, and then we got Kitten,
or Adam Cat.
Adam Cat, how he made his list, and just like all that stuff. The showdown with Pluto was pretty intense and had me worried there, because there's been a handful of times, like, even though he can quick save and we don't have to worry about him dying, quote unquote,
Or
we had the moment with
there wasn't
Pluto.
quite full immunity and just
Mm-hmm.
questioning it, as well as just like
Yeah.
Oh man, I was a little disappointed. It made sense because he would have been too emotionally invested for the Pluto arc, where he was driving the Pandomobile, which I got a kick out of, and I'm glad that he wasn't driving his vehicle, because if his
Mm-hmm.
vehicle got wrecked as such, it would have been a different story, because he probably would have ended it all then.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a run where we ended up getting the mind transfer to work and everything else. So
That to work when he does
or
the
to stick, she remembered, but then we get the meta gang run.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Darkling, and then we're bouncing around, but the twist with having Bloodstream,
Oh man,
and Dr. Tyranno.
that was definitely. I typically don't like. There's a like a hard fast rule of, hey, this is how resurrection work in our universe.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, there's a lot of like, you can't contain anything because we have yellow genomes, as well as literally everyone pulls power from another universe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of out the door. But yes, with Len's blood, I'm curious to see if she has some like, unlocking the vault PTSD remembrance of Bloodstream that we actually get to see or view for how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thoroughly, also sidestep bouncing around, enjoyed the Don't Go to Monaco arc, and we got it kind of in like
Yes,
two
we finally
snippets
got
here.
that answered.
But oh man, that was another psycho who had taken two, who was living in a pocket universe or dimension,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, to be able to save them, and just
Yes.
the possible technology things for using himself and creating a power based off of it, and creating a time anomaly portal, space portal thingy was,
That was such a fun arc, where he pretty much, like, we learned that he truly was immortal, and that's where he kind of like understand his phrase of like, hey, I'm immortal, don't tell anybody, because he
well, it
dies of old age
yeah, it
and
means a lot
resets.
because A, he lived a full life, died of old
Mm-hmm.
age. B, after that, he honed his skills time and time again, where
Yes.
he
Yes.
died to a plate as a thrown projectile, and then he nobody ever sees the ninja clowns, and like it really expresses his nature of you know figuring out optimal situations.
His power makes sense though, because like when I first was listening to the first book, like where it was trying to explain the fact that he could like react to things that he had previously, I was kind of like, like, what's that about? It seems like overpowered, but we all have that muscle memory, right? From like after so many times somebody tosses something at you, and you go to catch it, or those of us who played soccer, when you go and you drop something and you find yourself
Or yeah, trying
playing
to catch it with a
hacky
foot or
sack
kick
with
it
your
back.
foot. And yeah, so imagine
But
living
it's
hundreds of
not
years.
all. It's not immutable. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I remember him telling Len, "I have forgotten more than you'll ever know."
Mm-hmm.
And so like he doesn't remember everything,
No.
but yeah, there's still causal connections, and ways that he works through it.
Once again, thanks for joining us for the Geek on My Sleeve live stream. Today's episode is brought to you by Cuties as we sit here and munch on them.
Or I thought they had a different name. These were weird. Tiny and Tasty
Mandy's?
Mandy's?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a Tiny and Tasty.
We'll go with that. Brought to you by Tiny and Tasty. Anyhow, yeah, very fun arc.
I also enjoyed how, in book one, he really led off with the plushie and how we didn't know what was going on, and then we finally got to see it in action, but we only had like the one and done scene. Where now we had the metagang run where we had a bunch of them and we were supplementing them by and then eventually there's a containment breach, but it was it took a while, and it was only after we started showing up on live TV and had our cat smacking around an A-bomb until it finally turned it on. And
that was funny when he really played up the Mr. President bit and went on live TV. This author, I do really want to check out his stuff because he did pull in some other nerdy pulp culture nods that I actually caught and could appreciate, like when he was talking about
we're gonna make them reprimand or not reprimand. It was the Pickle Rick.
Yes,
for taking him to counseling.
Yeah. Adam Cat and Lucky Girl.
Part
of his perfect run.
And when Pluto was coming to Final Destination M, it was like, oh, that's Final Destination. Oh, that's
spoilers. The heroes,
the thriller thing.
And,
for other possible causal connections of how their powers were initially developed, because we know our main guy, Quick Save, was the premise or idea of Schrodinger's cat, where you're both alive and dead, or existing in two timelines.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh man, that Bloodstream arc. That was very intense.
Right, we actually get to see how they get split up in this book, right? Or was that a previous book where we get to see Mr. Wave save him time and time again? Maybe that was the first book.
This is where I went through the first section more times than I did the last section, but I knew
it doesn't help that we're constantly looping and flashing back and bouncing around.
Yeah, and there are a couple other good books that came out that I'm excited about too. I know we had the meta run, we had Brain Dead. We used Lens Blood with the elixir, turned into Bloodstream, explained it to everybody, and then I think we actually, I think it's like floor 66 or whatever with
Monster Girls.
Yeah, Monster Girls and Dr. Tyranno. And how easily agreeable he was, and he was like, well, I guess my hands are tied. And then I'm pretty sure something went south, and Bloodstream got out, and all of everybody who could possibly have taken an elixir turned into Bloodstream, and we have the mega stream of blood.
Yeah. Very much so. Sorry, another Tiny and Tasty. I'm really looking forward to seeing book 3 now that we kind of have our cast come together.
Yeah, we scratched the surface on a couple points. We definitely made new inroads for developments with the meta run, for getting our brain transfer thing going, for seeing Brain Dead that he's now essentially after Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Romano. Anyway, after Ryan left, and he now acts as if he's a new person. So we've got our comic relief Toaster and Brain Dead, who is not as of right now not wanting to put us in a jar, and how easy it is to subjugate Dr. Tyranno and all of his stuff, as well as access to the Mecron bunker, where it's going to be complicated in who all we bring in, because every time the bunker is unlocked, it messes with people. But we didn't actually find a psycho cure, which is a thing that we're also working on. But yeah, we're definitely making it harder and more complicated to achieve our perfect run, because we keep adding in people that we thought weren't valid.
Not just people, but objectives, right? Like we learn
more that we need to do, but I guess that's kind of tied into the people aspect of it. Like
more things to counter, more people to save, more problems to solve. Like we have the meta gang with the orbital bombardment or whatnot, right?
the laser.
Yeah, we have all the tech there that we have to keep away from Augustus and Dynamis. And then we have the circus, which is coming to town. And that escalation there, we have
people on every side, where
so much.
Still need to find a cure for the psycho condition. Need to somehow backdate or erase all the elixirs that have bloodstream in them, which may be the same thing, where we get rid of the bloodstream component somehow. And yeah, it's just,
not to mention all the other little milestones too, like the orphanage scene, preventing that, Ghoul countering that,
Psyshock, which we did counter, but we've countered them in several different ways.
Even just
where with Blackthorn, we end up using drugs on him, and he's essentially all neurons, and so we can keep him in that kind of state. And then we have Len, who's been working on her bubble thing that we might perfect, and it might work out. But then we also have Cancel, which hopefully throughout all of it, that's where it really ends up. Multiple ways to work through that problem.
A lot of good fun stuff. It's always hard to do these book justice, and we do need to wrap this stream a little bit earlier than normal. We'll try to make book 3 a little extra long and truly flesh it all out. But for scaling for this book, how you feel it did?
It did well. It threw me for a loop, because all the previous loops, it was kind of very similar. Where it was just, hey, I'm playing one faction, or hey, I'm playing the other faction. This one with the actually having them go after Atom Cat and contesting with a lot of the Killer 7, seeing their power sets, the elites was pretty exciting. Getting the brain transfer thing to work, but somewhat. And then now we have an option for going forward. The metagang run for just indulging our inner megalomaniac and Darkling and the plushies, the Bloodstream arc of oh man, just extra and all of the stuff that we have to do. The fact that we think we understand our powers now, but spoiler, we got a second power and it's one that nobody else has, as well as like we're already top tier, the big dog for the purple world. And like that probably holds the biggest like potential twisty noodles or whatever for the next book that I'm excited about to see how chaos, or it's almost like a yellow where it breaks the realm, but
it's
it
like
also
paradox,
plays
right?
or I can't remember. It's supposed to be like unable to be constrained, and I think it was technically chaos, but none of the other black elixirs wanted to come and play nice with the robots and bond to humans. So he's the only one that has one.
Yeah.
So
How to do on the combat for you?
Combat was there because we had, different ways to deal with the same problem with Psyshock. We had our what do you freaking say? It was like, oh, if I wasn't busy dealing with this, I would totally, fangirl over the giant mecha battle type thing.
Yeah.
We did well for combat. We got to see some more of Mechron's robots, and we also know that they're continuing where Mechron essentially made robots that can be genomes that can accept elixirs, as well as they are in communication with other elixirs, so on and so forth. So like, this is only one of his bunkers.
Right.
He's made the blue mind, which is a conscious mind, which we know all of them operate based off of a hive mind, because we got to see that in book 1 for the arc of destroying Mechron. And like it's still just like, for as much as we have going on and for how successful we have been as well as unsuccessful, it's still very much like the world is a big place and there can be people or heavy hitters on different continents that we haven't even seen, on top of being able to go through the different dimensions into their own world. Kind of like in book 1, how Vulcan harnesses the power of the Reds and allows them to, pump up the knockoff elixirs. Well, a knockoff elixir gives you the power but doesn't draw from the world. We're trying to figure out how to counteract the bloodstream one. If we could turn, one of our faction wants to turn everybody into a genome. So somehow being able to turn the faux elixirs into real elixirs. But I don't think it would quite work out, because it seems like every elixir will only bond to one person, and that one person's the only one who gets that power set. So they abide by the laws or the rules of their color, but they do it differently. Like the difference between Acid Rain, who can teleport between raindrops, and Quick Save, who can, stop time and revert back to his previous save, where they're both time warpiness, but they're not.
Their powers come from the same realm. But they can't overlap their power sets, and they can be similar. Like other people can quote unquote stop time in a way, but it's not the same as quick saves where he's not necessarily stopping time. He's always kind of starting a new save, but he just has to stop it before he comes in contact with his previous self, and then that's the new save, right? Which I thought was pretty cool.
Which is the only reason I bring it up is because, like, I'm pretty sure all of the firefighters or whatever use Fireball, where it's all the same one, or all of the Wyvern knockoff elixirs are boost of strength.
Right.
And so I could see that actually being a way to kind of like clear or change it to essentially turn the knockoff into a legitimate one. And then all the people who had a version of the knockoff, it kind of like moves away from them and combines. And then it strips it from the other people. And maybe that's a way to cure the psychos. Essentially go, because most of them turn psycho off of knockoffs. So to take all of the knockoffs and amalgamate them into one person, and then eventually it ends up stripping out all the others. I don't know. That's cool random theory crafting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for the world development. We got a lot more comic relief in this one, which I enjoyed, though I guess book one had a lot as well.
The author does a good job. Yeah. So yeah, apologize again. We do have to wrap this stream a little bit early. Promise to give it more love and attention when we rotate in book 3. Life has just been crazy busy for both of us, but as always, we try to do our best and enjoy hanging out with you guys every Sunday.
On top of don't have the next thumbnails done, and I meant to, but apparently I meant to do a lot of things, and life is just being weird.
So next Sunday, we are not doing a live stream.
No.
Taking a break. No stream the 17th. Next one is going to be April 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we are going to jump into the new series by Shamir Kuznets.
Yeah.
And it's in the same realm as his New Life series. And this one is Biomancer. Also done by one of our favorite narrators, Luke Daniels. Does an amazing job. Both Pete and I have been through the book. Really looking forward to getting back into the space, having fun there. You can start there. This is the first of a series, but it will reference the other series, which is just incredible. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I would say that too. It is a standalone, can be enjoyed on its own. You should do it just because you want to spend time with us, and yes, but the original series is amazing, and why we know of this series as it is. Plus, it took a unique, or it was not what I expected based off of the conclusion of the first series, and it was a welcome variation that has a lot of merit and just further expands the possibilities of what could go on in the universe for writing. Our short summary free explanation is, in the first series, it plays kind of like an isekai where people get trapped in a game. Due to that, there's traumatic experiences. In this iteration, or this start of it, there's someone who was overseas and gets back and one of the people he loves had a traumatic event and is, struggling mentally staying together. So he wants to help. In doing so, he goes back into New Era Online, which is essentially locked down because of the previous Isekai incident where they all got trapped in it. And it does a lot of great developmental stuff where we kind of get to see more of what the VIs are currently doing, more of it, New Era being locked down. It just,
It was a good summary. It's a good summary. Good grasp of what's going on without spoiling anything. And then the week after that, May 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern, getting back to one of our favorites,
man.
He Who Fights with Monsters 5 by Shirtaloon is his pen name. And finally, we get the name of the author himself, Travis Deverell.
I don't know.
And narrated by Heath Miller. Heath Miller, this is the first series we found him, but he does a phenomenal job. Maybe not the first series. But anyway.
It might be, but I just...
These books are massive and just so much fun.
And this guy, like... Trying to keep it spoiler free.
We are on book 5.
Very excited for the author.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to our earlier comment of, I think He Who Fights with Monsters 1 has only been out for a year or something.
Well,
maybe a little
it was
longer.
On Royal Road, but he brought it over to Amazon and published it.
Yeah. It's been in the works,
a web series.
But the fact that like within, less than 2 years, we're getting the release of book 5, and they're massive. They're not piddly little books, and the world's phenomenal, and the author's doing, innovative stuff with the Royal Road and the Patreon and the, like, it's so good. I would possibly read physical words.
I was tempted, but like, thank goodness we're getting
time for
one
everything.
A quarter.
Yeah. It's still pretty consistent on the releases, and man,
the
way we left off after I can't say these things, but
I've already listened to it. It's great.
Highly recommend the series as just like a little bit of everything.
You got 3 weeks. Go binge it. Book 5.
Yeah.
May 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern.
It's kind of like an isekai where we get transported to another world, but then it's kind of like lit RPG where we do get powers that have stats associated with them, but then it's kind of like fantasy-esque with My Hero, but it's also kind of like MMO-esque where we have to slot in our runes to get our powers, but then it's
epicness.
And it's just so well done with the combat, with the way it describes stuff, with the
character development, with just
the character
all
development,
of it. So well done. And like, I really enjoyed the first book, but you can tell how much the author has grown as a writer by book 4 and 5. Like, a lot of my
as well as he's admitted it himself, where like, I will say the ending of book 1 was not my favorite, but that's okay because book 2 killed it. And normally I don't like book 2s. So it didn't quite sell me on the ending, but the whole run up to it was phenomenal. And 2 through 5 killed it. So I will caution you on the ending of 1 is not
but they're
it's
coming
not
in
as
now where
enticing.
they can just binge up until 5.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
it's not really
if
an
you
ending.
only make it through, yeah, you can't stop at 1 to give it a fair shake,
No.
and it's okay. We accept that you're going to buy 5, and by the time you get through 5, 6 is going to be out. But
Pre-order's already out.
this is true. Every time 1 releases, it seems like the pre-order for the next one's up.
He's on it. He's freaking on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really appreciate everyone who joined us during the live stream. Appreciate you guys who watch it on the replay, contribute in the comments below. Really love coming back to these streams and keeping the dialogue going. Make sure to check out our Discord and keep tossing book suggestions our way. And yeah, no stream next week. Catch you guys the 24th. And did I miss anything?
Nope. Pretty much wraps it up. Hope to geek out with you guys here soon. Bye.
Bye.